This is Christopher from Demotional and Dead by April, and you're watching RichardMetalFan.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of RichardMetalFan Interviews. This is episode 81. I'm here at my buddy's place in Alabama, and today's guest I had the pleasure to chat with Christopher Kristensen. He is the vocalist for the band Dead by April and Demotional from Sweden. Today we're going to be talking to him about his journey as a musician from where he started to now, pretty much starting up Demotional and then joining Dead by April, as well as like put differences between like playing with the two as much more. So without further ado, let's go talk to Chris.
So what's up, guys? I am here with Christopher from Demotional and Dead by April. So how are you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing great, man. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Doing pretty well. It's pretty early in the morning. Then it's like 7 a.m. here. What time is it over in Sweden here?
Middle of the day. We're at 2 o'clock right now.
Oh, damn. So basically this format is I want to do like a rundown of your catalog as well as like your journey as an artist from where you started to now. But I'm always curious before we go into that, what were the first bands that got you into metal and what made you want to be a vocalist?
Oh, damn. Well, the bands that got me into music or started playing music was actually, let's see here, Deftones, Rage Against the Machine, and Limp Bizkit.
Oh, nice. It's
all American bands.
Yeah, awesome. And were you in any like bands before starting up Demotional, or is Demotional like your first band?
I did a few bands. We mostly did covers of like Deftones and Rage Against the Machine. So they were like garage bands. So we didn't do a lot of shows and stuff. But yeah, I had two bands before Demotional. And the band right before Demotional, I did a few growls. I haven't tried that yet. It was as soon as I got into Demotional, we started doing those growls actually. And he rented me in for a few songs. That was how we like started the project. So it was all new to me.
Yeah, and how did you get to know the guys in Demotional? Because I believe you all formed in 2009.
Let's see here. It was me, Sebastian, and Nils that started the band. We met through, let's see here. Well, we live in a town called Växjö in Sweden, and it's a small town, so everybody knows everybody, basically. I think Sebastian was at one of our shows with my old band before Demotional, and he was like, "Hey, dude, I heard you do some screams in a few songs. Do you want to come try out my project?" And that's how we basically started. And at that time, Sebastian and Nils was living together. So we said after recording my vocals, my growl vocals, we said, "Oh, we need some clean vocals as well." And he just, asked Nils, who was living in the apartment at the time. So that's how we started.
Yeah, and tell me about like the first video when she cries. Apparently, like you all used to back in the day, used to wear like the fancy suits, ties, and stuff. Were you like trying to like almost kind of like portray characters in a way?
No, our thought was, okay, how do we like? There are so many good bands out there, both music-wise and visually. How do we like stand out from the crowd? So what's not so metal? Okay, suits. That's not metal at all. So let's try that one. So that's just how we started.
Yeah, and I liked the video. And I noticed your growls on that song. You were like, sound very high, but then you kind of like gotten a little bit lower over the years. Did you want to up your growls?
Sorry, one again?
Yeah. With the original When She Cries, I noticed like you did more of the higher kind of like screams, but then after that you decided would change it up to like more the mid range. What was the reason behind the change?
I think I just evolved. At that time, I wasn't very good. I often damaged my voice. So I just, that comes out of just practice and evolving, I guess. As you can hear on the first song, it doesn't sound very good, but
yeah. Yeah, then kind of flash forward to 2011, you dropped like the other two singles, the Tomorrow Is Today and Alive, which I think I love those videos as well as also on the, of course, on the debut as well. Tell me about those two songs in particular, the originals.
Let's see here. Tomorrow Is Today. Jesus, this is so long ago.
Yeah.
Tomorrow Is Today is I think me and Sebastian wrote that song, and that was one of the first demos we wrote as well, alongside with When She Cries, because we have a lot of songs that we didn't release also from that time. What was the third song?
So the next one was Alive.
Alive, yeah. Oh,
that was like probably the first song I heard from you guys, or one of the first songs.
That's actually one of the first songs I was proud of showing my parents that we did. I thought that song was cool. And it's also one of the bigger songs for the band, Demotional. We still play it today when we play shows. It's a great song, actually.
Yeah, and tell me about like the debut album, Stay in Denial. Oh, and hard to believe next year will be the 10-year anniversary of that. I would love to see, if it possible, if you guys did like a celebration somehow.
Oh wow, 10 years, huh?
Yeah, next year will be 10 years.
I haven't thought about that. That's cool. Yeah, we recorded that album at Studio Fredman, the legendary studio here in Gothenburg. We basically had a few years of just writing songs together as a group of friends. We didn't have any plans or like big plans to take over the world with the music. But yeah, I mean, we got a lot of shows out of that album, and things just kicked off for us, especially in the Scandinavia. But yeah, we were young musicians just trying to have some fun. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. We've been together ever since, so yeah, we're doing something right.
Yeah, yeah, and I also love how you did like a couple re-recordings of When She Cries, Tomorrow Is Today and Alive. You make it sound a lot more crisp and more clear.
Yeah, we had to, also because of our vocals. We couldn't release the first one. We couldn't stay with that one because we were so immature as vocalists, and yeah, it needed a lot of work.
All right, and then going with the next album, Terrasis, like usually with the debut album, you usually have your entire life to write, and then there's a lot of like hype with the first album. Did you feel like pressure to follow up Terrasis coming from Stay in Denial?
Oh, we had some pressure, yeah, but I think the pressure started the album after Terrasis, so we didn't feel that much pressure for this album in particular. I can't even remember what songs that album has. We're way back now. Terrasis.
Yeah,
remember the songs on that one?
I remember one of my favorite songs is Miracles, which has guest vocals from Pontus from Disciple.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let's see here. We recorded that one with Pontus. Yeah, that was the first album we recorded with Studio PH, and we had him on the vocals and also on a guitar solo on that album as well. That was actually, I remember now. We actually had a lot of pressure for that album, especially because we recorded at Pontus studio, and he was a big guy for us back in the days.
Yeah, so can't confirm.
Yeah, it was. We were nervous, and he pushed us. So I think it turned out to be a good album with him as a producer, and he really pressured us, vocal wise. Absolutely.
Yeah, because usually producers will like almost kind of be almost like the fifth Beatle or sixth Beatle, and if you're in Slipknot, like the 10th Beatle. You know, I've had him on the channel back in 2020, and I think he has like a great mind frame, and when it comes to like creating music as well as producing.
I think you can hear on the album also that Pontus has a touch on it. It has a little bit of that DBA vibe for sure.
Yeah, and then going to 2016, you released the single Brother, and I think that's another great song. Was that something to like hype up fans to wait for before y'all release Discovery?
That was actually just in the middle song. We recorded that song. I think it was for Terraces, but we didn't include it in the album. So we just released it as a lone single before the Discovery album came out. And we had no, I think it was just to give the fans something between the albums. But yeah, a lot of people have been talking about that song. It's a good song, but it's a shame we didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, I'm surprised he also didn't put it on Discovery.
Right? Yeah. I don't know why. I can't remember.
I have no idea. But Discovery, I think, was another great album. What was that like, going from Terraces to Discovery?
Well, as the name says, we basically discovered ourselves in that one. For me, that album is we found our identity a little bit. Sure, it was a very polished album. The song may be even too polished at some point, but we felt that we found ourselves in this one. So yeah.
And it's another great album. And then going to 2018, you released the song Invincible, and that was actually the first, believe it or not, the first song I ever heard from you guys. I discovered you all through the Unguided, another great Swedish band. I've actually interviewed Richard a while back.
Yeah.
Tell me about that song. That's probably another one of my favorite songs from you guys.
Invincible is actually one of my favorite songs as well, especially playing live. It's a great song, and I remember we recorded a music video for that one just for the sake of the tour with the Unguided.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was awesome.
Yeah. We recorded that in like a barn in the middle parts of Sweden, together with all the bands that toured on that tour. So we all did it in the same room. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And that was a lot of fun.
That was crazy. But then flash forward to 2020, you actually ended up joining Dead by April. How did you get to hook up with the guys?
Well, we worked with Pontus before on 2 albums, and we also did a tour with them in Europe around 2015, I think it was. So we have had close contact with them ever since. But then I think it was 2016 when Stoffe quit the band, and they needed a new growling vocalist, and they called me to see if I was interested, and I said yes. But then a few weeks later, they actually went with Jimmy. So I was supposed to join the band a lot of years before that, but yeah. So in 2020, they gave me a call again and said that Jimmy fucked up, and I said, let's go. Let's just do it.
Awesome.
DBA has always been a band that I look up to a lot.
Yeah, same. They're one of my favorite bands as well. So when you joined Dead by April, were you like looking at like the other albums and be like, okay, this is what I need to do? Or did like Pontus and the rest of the guys wanted you to like bring like your own mix to the band?
They wanted me to bring my own mix, my own like touch to everything. But of course, I look at the old things as well. I had some pressure on me for sure, but at the same time, I wanted to do my own thing. I mean, if they bring me into the band, then I'm doing something right.
Right. Also, did you feel like pressure to be like the new guy? Because anytime when bands like change vocalists, there's like 9 out of 10 times it doesn't work. But in this case, it actually did work. Did you feel like nervous joining Dead by April?
I did. Yeah, I did. Mostly because of their past. I mean, when the guy in between me and Jimmy joined Stoffe, he got a lot of pressure, a lot of hate during a few years, which I saw, and that's, yeah, I got a little nervous about that. But I mean, there's been no hate at all. I mean, it's just pure love. So that's awesome.
That's great. And then tell me about like your first song with the band, Memory. Tell me about like recording that.
I was nervous. I remember that day. Yeah,
I can imagine.
I just got back from a vacation in South Africa, I think, and we went into the studio, and he said, "Yeah, here's the new song. Let's just start recording." and I heard a snippet of the song because they recorded it with Jimmy. They were supposed to release it before, yeah, he got kicked out, of course. So yeah, I was nervous, but it felt so right. I mean, Pontus is so easy to work with in the studio as well. He's a beast in the studio.
Yeah, yeah, and I just love that song, and definitely a great intro to you in the band.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and like what is also like some of like the differences between playing with Dead by April versus playing with Demotional? Is there like a different mind frame depending on like the projects that you played with, or is there usually like a method that applies to all the madness?
It's a little bit harder, especially since I haven't been in the band and they have a lot of good songs in it before, but they phrased the vocals quite different from what I'm used to. So I needed to like change my techniques a bit. And that was kind of hard in the beginning. So for me, that was a big change that I had to go through. But other than that, it's about the same. I mean, it's the same genre as I'm used to also. So the biggest change was just the phrasing on a few songs. Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course you also released 2 other songs that same year. You're Bulletproof, and you covered like the song from the Disney movie Frozen, Let It Go. Go.
Yeah.
Tell me about Bulletproof, and also what made you guys decide to cover that Let It Go?
Bulletproof. That's a great song. I haven't listened to that in a while. But that was just the same as Memory. Still nervous, still the new guy, still gonna have to perform really well. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty good, but we haven't played that song ever live still.
Yeah, I looked up all the YouTube videos, like I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's a good song. It's a kick-ass intro to it as well. Well, maybe for the future, we'll see. But yeah, Let It Go also. Well, we're Disney fans, all of us, and we just said, "Hey, let's have some fun."
Kid.
Yeah, right. So we just said, "Hey, let's just pick a good song and let's have some fun." That's basically it.
Yeah, and kind of like going back into Demotional. I know last year you released your latest album, Scandinavian Aftermath. What was like that whole recording process like?
We worked with a guy, producer called Dino. He's a big time producer for mostly pop and hip hop music. But yeah, he has a studio in Stockholm, and this is where we think everything just kicked off for us, because that album is kick-ass. All of the band members love this album, but it's a funny story. On the first 4 songs we recorded, I just tore my Achilles tendon.
Oh shit!
Like 3 days before recording, we were recording. Let's see here. Don't Wake Me Up, Cornered, Berserk. Yeah, I think those 3 songs. So I was eating a lot of morphine on that recording because of the yeah. But it turned out to be one of my favorite recordings of all time. I mean, personally, I think that's one of my best vocal performances.
Yeah, and would you consider that just picking up after where you left off after Discovery? Because I know there's like a 4-year gap, or do you consider like Scandinavian Aftermath almost kind of like a new beginning or a new start for Demotional in a way?
It was for sure. I think that was everybody evolved a lot from that album in coming into Scandinavian Aftermath. That was just spot on. The thing is, this was the first time we released an album just by ourselves, and no record label behind us, no PR help or anything. So I don't think that album has gotten the love it deserves. So we're actually looking into a record label to like reboost the album once again, just because I don't think a lot of people heard it. But it's hard. I mean, as a band without a label to reach out to everybody. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, you know, and I pretty much have it in my collection. I remember I pre-ordered it with the signed booklet from you guys, and I thought like
Yeah.
that was fucking awesome. So, man, being that now it's been out for a little over a year, have you started working with the for the next emotional album?
Yeah, we have. We are, let's see here, halfway through maybe. We haven't started recording, but we have the materials for a complete album at this point. But we will meet up in the van, we will take away some songs, we will add some new ones, and then the recording should start. So sometime during next year, we will probably release a new one.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna pre-order that shit.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, you deserve my money.
Take my money, yeah.
I can imagine that meme from Fry from the show Futurama be like, "Shut up and take my money."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of going back in the Dead by April, in that same year, you released "Heartbeat Failing," another first single for the band in 2021. Tell me about like that song.
That song is where I started feeling comfortable with everything in the band and have found my place and everything. "Heartbeat Failing" is actually one of my favorite songs ever recorded, and the absolutely funniest song to play live, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and then another one of my another songs is "Collapsing," and I love that song. Especially, I love all the music videos. Like you also did music videos for like all the singles that you released so far. Especially, I love the "Collapsing" where you guys were like on a rooftop. Tell me about like that. Where was that video for the song?
That was an experience. I remember just sitting on that rooftop looking out because the view was amazing. And people think it was a green screen, but it's actually on a rooftop in the middle of Gothenburg. Recording this, and it got cold as fuck because we recorded all through the night. But yeah, that was a fun video, and we recorded that with Patrick Lewis. He's done a lot of good music videos through his career, alongside with I think it's Arch Enemy in Europe, and yeah, a lot of good bands he's done.
Yeah,
but yeah, Collapsing was fun.
Awesome, and also like I want to talk about also before we go into the next songs that like your approach to vocals. So as a vocalist, do you usually need to hear music in order to come up with lyrics, or usually have like a lyrical concept in mind and that can help determine the outcome of the music itself?
You mean the writing of the music?
Yeah.
I often don't do the writing of the music. In DBA, Pontus does everything. I just come in and we rephrase things and put it down and work with some melodies and mostly my parts. So I don't do that much writing, actually.
Yeah, and being that in Demotional, you and Nils sing, and also with Dead by April, you and Pontus sing together. Do y'all have to be like in the same like mind frame, like emotionally, or do either one of them have like kind of lyrics, and do you have to like adjust your voice to that? So what I'm saying is like when you sing with like Nils and also sing with Pontus, is how do you make it like a level playing field in the song?
It's just about communicating, just listening to each other. Sorry, do you have the baby crying?
It's all
Is
good.
that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
It's just about communicating. It's keeping an open mind and everything. Often I need to adjust to them because they write the music, and I try to figure out what way to do it the best. At the same time, I listen to their feedback, of course. But it's been such a natural process for both bands. I mean, it's easy to work with Nils, it's easy to work with Pontus, so we never argue about it. It's just it just happens. Yeah,
like no fights, like I'm singing this part or I'm singing this part.
No. No, we're open with each other always, so it's super easy. If I think, okay, we should have a crowd here, and we try it, if it's better, yeah, we're all good. Or if it's the same way around.
Yeah, and then going back to Anything at All, another great song, and I especially love how you did like 3 different versions. There's the original, then there's the orchestral, and you also did like an EDM version, which I thought was fucking awesome. So tell me about like Anything at All. Oh, it looks like you all recorded it in like a cliff in like the middle of nowhere somewhere.
It is in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, wow.
It's at a place called Gotland in Sweden. It's an island outside of Stockholm. So it's a super beautiful place, and basically we heard about the place. We haven't been there before, but we went into Google Maps and said, hey, let's go somewhere here, around here. So we took the boat over to Gotland, and then we stayed over for the night. And then we sat down in the morning, drank some coffee, and said, okay, look at the map. Where are we headed? So we just took it somewhere, drove into the forest on the island, and just found this beautiful place by the cliff. And as you can see, we ran on the beach as well. Everything is completely white. So it was super cool.
Yeah, yeah. And I also love like, especially like there's like that little triangle that was on fire. That was awesome. Some in the video.
Yeah. That I think it was Marcus Rosell's grandfather that did that. The triangle for us.
And it also looked like it had like blue fire a little bit, which I thought was wow. That
could be some effects.
Yeah. And then also about the orchestral version, I love that where you were playing in a forest. I also saw you play piano. I never knew you played piano on that.
I played a little bit when I was younger, but I had to fast learn that song on piano. But yeah, a little bit for sure. I'm not a professional at all, but yeah, I play a little bit of most instruments, mostly drums.
Yeah, and I love that. Yeah, I think all three versions of Anything at All is great, especially the EDM version, which mostly had like the video just had like behind the scenes of like the original and the orchestral version. I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, we need to do more EDMs. Those are fun. Those are real fun.
Yeah, and very catchy, get the crowd pumping.
Oh yeah, for sure. But with that orchestral version, that was also something that was mind-blowing to me. It was when we recorded the strings and everything in the Stockholm studio with that orchestra. Did you see that as well?
Yeah, I thought
I was standing in that room. That was so dope. Wow. And they have never played the song. They've never heard the song. So they just put up a piece of paper and everybody just started playing it. It was like just the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, and then going to Better Than You. I love that song. I know you have all these songs out. I'm always curious when you guys are going to release a new album.
Yeah. So Better Than You is also we're experimenting with different sounds. Yes, you can hear on that one that's a little bit harder song, a little bit more trap music to it. The next song will also have that. The next single we're releasing next month. A little bit of the same there, but we just said that in the band that we will just focus on singles for a while.
Yeah,
even throughout next year. But we'll see. Maybe there will be an album at the end of the year next year.
Awesome. And then I know you also the latest single, like you did an orchestral version of Collapsing. I thought that was great. It looked like you recorded it, like the video in like some like castle in Sweden. Where was that recorded?
That was also outside of Gothenburg. It's in a famous castle called Tjolöholm.
I can't. It's hard to
weird Swedish names. But yeah, I think there was like I think the King of Sweden visited that place sometime also. But it's a famous place here in Gothenburg, and they've recorded a lot of like I read. Let's see here. I read yesterday that Kirsten, what's she called? The actress, Kirsten Dunst.
Oh yeah, from Spider-Man. I know her.
Yeah. So she's been there recording a few big bits of a movie, I guess. Also,
wow.
So there's been a lot of cool recordings on that place, but it's ghosts. Let me tell you, it's freaky there at night. Yeah, the entire building is squeaking. It makes noises. It opens windows. And like, fuck that. I'm out.
Yeah. And I also saw you also do like a little bit of backing clean vocals on the orchestral version of Collapsing with Pontus. I think you also have like a good singing voice. I would love to see you like do a little bit of backing cleans on some future Dead by April songs.
I do backing cleans on a lot of songs.
Okay.
Actually, I do it on, but I'll do a lot of those high notes on. Is it Bulletproof? Yeah, Bulletproof was the first time I did those like tone screamish parts. But most of the songs I actually do a little bit of cleans. And if you want to hear my cleans on solo, you have it in the song Ashes from Demotional. That's me singing the chorus.
Yeah, I love that. Another one of my favorite songs from Demotional.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of wrapping things up. Coming from Sweden, like of course, like there was like a scene like you guy is Demotional, Dead by April, Brawl the Unguided, Sonic Syndicate, Kid, and even like classic like the old school death metal bands like At the Gates and Flames, Dark Tranquility. Was there like a big scene in Sweden that you felt a part of, or was it the goal for you to like get outside of like Sweden and play in front of like different countries and different audiences?
Well, my goal has always been to like focus internationally, mostly for the US. That's been one of my big goals in music. But everybody looked up to In Flames back in the day. Also until today, of course. But one of the big goals for me also was to play with him someday. That's one of my biggest influences in music, for sure.
Awesome. So before we go, I just want to thank you for this interview. It was a great conversation. Is just anything else with Dead by April or Demotional you would like to plug? And is there a chance maybe we can get you could bring either of your bands to the States for a tour one day? I'd love to see you all rocking at like Atlanta or something.
Oh yeah, we're working on a tour in the US right now. We don't have a booking agency over there, but we have some contacts, and we will probably do the tour from our own pocket, trying to book like 4 or 5 shows, pay for the venue ourselves. So we're looking into doing that in maybe August, September next year with DBA. And we will probably start up maybe a crowdfunding or something to help us get out there, because it's expensive. Damn it, it's expensive. But yeah.
I'd donate in a heartbeat.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and we're looking into Atlanta is on the list for sure. Yeah,
just hit up the Masquerade. They would love to have you guys, and I'll be there. I'll buy tickets right when they go on sale.
Often, for sure. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So everybody, Christopher from Dead by April and Demotional. We'll see you next time.